52. The four bases, roads, should be understood as the four bases of success, Iddhipada roads to power, for this is said, what are the four bases, Pada roads, for success, Iddhi power? Here a bhikkhu develops the basis for success, road to power, that possesses both concentration due to zeal and the will to strive, endeavor, he develops the basis for success, road to power, that possesses both concentration due to energy and the will to strive, he develops the basis for success, road to power, that possesses both concentration due to natural purity of consciousness and the will to strive, he develops the basis for success, road to power, that possesses both concentration due to inquiry and the will to strive. These four bases, roads, for success, power, lead to the obtaining of supernormal power, success, to the fearlessness due to supernormal power, success, Path to 205. 51. And here the concentration that has zeal as its cause, or has zeal outstanding, is concentration due to zeal. This is a term for concentration obtained by giving precedence to zeal consisting in the desire to act. Will, formation, as endeavor is will to strive, this is a term for the energy of right endeavor accomplishing its fourfold function, c. 53. Possesses, is furnished with concentration due to zeal and with the four instances of the will to strive. 52. Road to power, basis for success. The meaning is, the total of consciousness and its remaining concomitants except the concentration and the will, which are, in the sense of resolve, the road to, basis for, the concentration due to zeal and will to strive associated with the direct knowledge consciousness, which latter are themselves termed power, success, either by treatment as production, 20, or in the sense of succeeding, 21, or by treatment in this way, being succeed by its means, thus they are successful, they are enriched, promoted, 22. For this is said, basis for success, road to power. It is the feeling aggregate, perception aggregate, formations aggregate, and consciousness aggregate, in one so become, by 217. 53. Or alternatively, it is arrived at, pajate, by means of that, thus that is a road, pada basis, it is reached, is the meaning. Iddhipada equals idhyapada, resolution of compound. This is a term for zeal, etc., according as it is said, bhikkhus, if a bhikkhu obtains concentration, obtains unification of mind supported by zeal, this is called concentration due to zeal. He awakens zeal for the non-arising of unarisen evil, unprofitable states, strives, puts forth energy, strains his mind and struggles. He awakens zeal for the abandoning of arisen evil, unprofitable states. He awakens zeal for the arousing of unarisen profitable states. He awakens zeal for the maintenance, non-disappearance, increase, growth, development and perfection of arisen profitable states, strives, puts forth energy, strains his mind and struggles. These are called instances of the will to strive. So this zeal and this concentration due to zeal and these four instances of will to strive are called the road to power, basis for success, that possesses concentration due to zeal and the will to strive, SV 268. And the meaning should be understood in this way in the case of the other roads to power, basis for success, point 8. 54.3. The 8 steps should be understood as the 8 beginning with zeal, for this is said, what are the 8 steps? If a bhikkhu obtains concentration, obtains unification of mind supported by zeal, then the zeal is not the concentration is not the zeal. 386. The zeal is one, the concentration is another. If a bhikkhu, supported by energy, supported by natural purity of consciousness, supported by inquiry, then the inquiry is not the concentration is not the inquiry. The inquiry is one, the concentration is another. These 8 steps to power lead to the obtaining of supernormal power, success, to fearlessness due to supernormal power, success, Path to 205. For here it is the zeal consisting in the desire to arouse supernormal power, success, which zeal is joined with concentration, that leads to the obtaining of the supernormal power. Similarly in the case of energy, and so on. That should be understood as the reason why they are called the 8 steps. 55.4. The 16 roots, the mind's unperturbedness 9 should be understood in 16 modes, for this is said, what are the 16 roots of success, power? Undejected consciousness is not perturbed by indolence, thus it is unperturbed. Unelated consciousness is not perturbed by agitation, thus it is unperturbed. Unattracted consciousness is not perturbed by greed, thus it is unperturbed. Unrepelled consciousness is not perturbed by ill will, thus it is unperturbed. Independent consciousness is not perturbed by false view, thus it is unperturbed. Untrammeled consciousness is not perturbed by greed accompanied by zeal, thus it is unperturbed. Liberated consciousness is not perturbed by greed for sense desires, thus it is unperturbed. Unassociated consciousness is not perturbed by defilement, thus it is unperturbed. Consciousness rid of barriers is not perturbed by the barrier of defilement, thus it is unperturbed. Unified consciousness is not perturbed by the defilement of variety, thus it is unperturbed. Consciousness reinforced by faith is not perturbed by faithlessness, thus it is unperturbed. Consciousness reinforced by energy is not perturbed by indolence, thus it is unperturbed. Consciousness reinforced by mindfulness is not perturbed by negligence, thus it is unperturbed. Consciousness reinforced by concentration is not perturbed by agitation, thus it is unperturbed. Consciousness reinforced by understanding is not perturbed by ignorance, thus it is unperturbed. Illuminated consciousness is not perturbed by the darkness of ignorance, thus it is unperturbed. These 16 roots of success, power, lead to the obtaining of supernormal power, success, to fearlessness due to supernormal power, success, Path to 206. 56. Of course, this meaning is already established by the words, when his concentrated mind, etc., too, but it is stated again for the purpose of showing that the first jhana, etc., are the 3 planes, bases, roads, steps, and roots, of success, to supernormal powers. And the first mentioned method is the one given in the suttas, but this is how it is given in the Pasamhita. So it is stated again for the purpose of avoiding confusion in each of the 2 instances. 57.5. He resolves with knowledge, 48. When he has accomplished these things consisting of the planes, bases, roads, steps, and roots, of success, to supernormal power, 387. Then he attains jhana as the basis for direct knowledge and emerges from it. Then if he wants to become 100, he does the preliminary work thus, let me become 100, let me become 100, after which he again attains jhana as basis for direct knowledge, emerges, and resolves. He becomes 100 simultaneously with the resolving consciousness. The same method applies in the case of 1,000, and so on. If he does not succeed in this way, he should do the preliminary work again, and attain, emerge, and resolve a second time. For it is said in the Sayata commentary that it is allowable to attain once, or twice. 58. Herein, the basic jhana consciousness has the sign as its object, but the preliminary work consciousnesses have the 100 as their object or the 1,000 as their object. And these latter are objects as appearances, not as concepts. The resolving consciousness has likewise the 100 as its object or the 1,000 as its object. That arises once only, next to change of lineage consciousness, as in the case of absorption consciousness already described, 4.78, and it is fine material sphere consciousness belonging to the 4th jhana. 59. Now, it is said in the Pasamhita, normally 1, he adverts to himself as many or 100 or 1,000 or 100,000, having adverted, he resolves with knowledge, let me be many. He becomes many, like the Venerable Cua Panthaka, Path to 207. Here he adverts is said with respect only to the preliminary work. Having adverted, he resolves with knowledge is said with respect to the knowledge of the direct knowledge. Consequently, he adverts to many. After that he attains with the last one of the preliminary work consciousnesses. After emerging from the attainment, he again adverts thus, let me be many, after which he resolves by means of the single consciousness belonging to the knowledge of direct knowledge, which has arisen next to the 3, or 4, preparatory consciousnesses that have occurred, and which has the name resolve owing to its making the decision. This is how the meaning should be understood here. 60 Like the Venerable Cua Panthaka is said in order to point to a bodily witness of this multiple state, but that must be illustrated by the story. There were 2 brothers, it seems, who were called Panthaka, roadling, because they were born on a road. The senior of the 2 was called Mahapanthaka. He went forth into homelessness and reached arahantship together with the discriminations. When he had become an arahant, he made Cua Panthaka go forth too, and he set him this stanza, 388. As a scented coconut a lotus opens in the morning with its perfume. See the one with radiant limbs who glitters 10. Like the sun's orb blazing in the heavens, A3 239, SI 81. 4 months went by, but he could not get it by heart. Then the elder said, you are useless in this dispensation, and he expelled him from the monastery. 61 At that time the elder had charge of the allocation of meal invitations. Jivaka approached the elder, saying, take alms at our house, venerable sir, together with the Blessed One and 500 bhikkhus. The elder consented, saying, I accept for all but Cua Panthaka. Cua Panthaka stood weeping at the gate. The Blessed One saw him with the divine eye, and he went to him. Why are you weeping? He asked, and he was told what had happened. 62 The Blessed One said, no one in my dispensation is called useless for being unable to do a recitation. Do not grieve, bhikkhu. Taking him by the arm, he led him into the monastery. He created a piece of cloth by supernormal power and gave it to him, saying, now, bhikkhu, keep rubbing this and recite over and over again, removal of dirt, removal of dirt. While doing as he had been told, the cloth became black in color. What he came to perceive was this, the cloth is clean, there is nothing wrong there. It is the selfhood that is wrong. He brought his knowledge to bear on the 5 aggregates, and by increasing insight he reached the neighborhood of conformity knowledge and change of lineage knowledge. 63 Then the Blessed One uttered these illuminative stanzas. Now greed it is, not dust, that we call dirt. And dirt is just a term in use for greed. This greed the wise reject, and they abide, keeping the law of him that has no greed. Now, hate it is, not dust, that we call dirt. Delusion too, it is not dust, that we call dirt. And dirt is just a term used for delusion. Delusion the wise reject, and they abide, keeping the Dhamma of him without delusion. Nid I 505. 389. When the stanzas were finished, the Venerable Cua Panthaka had at his command the 9 supramundane states attended by the 4 discriminations and 6 kinds of direct knowledge. 64 On the following day the master went to Jivaka's house together with the community of bhikkhus. Then when the gruel was being given out at the end of the water offering ceremony 11 he covered his bowl. Jivaka asked, what is it, venerable sir? There is a bhikkhu at the monastery. He sent a man, telling him, go, and return quickly with the Lord. 65 When the Blessed One had left the monastery. Now, having multiplied himself up to 1,000, Panthaka sat in the pleasant mango wood until the time should be announced, th 563. 66 When the man went and saw the monastery all glowing with yellow, he returned and said, Venerable sir, the monastery is crowded with bhikkhus. I do not know which of them the Lord is. Then the Blessed One said, go and catch hold of the hem of the robe of the first one you see, tell him, the master calls you and bring him here. He went and caught hold of the elder's robe. At once all the creations vanished. The elder dismissed him, saying, "You may go," and when he had finished attending to his bodily needs such as mouth-washing, he arrived first and sat down on the seat prepared. It was with reference to this that it was said, like the Venerable Cua Panthaka. 67 The many who were created there were just like the possessor of the supernormal power because they were created without particular specification. Then whatever the possessor of the supernormal powers does, whether he stands, sits, etc., or speaks, keeps silent, etc., they do the same. But if he wants to make them different in appearance, some in the first phase of life, some in the middle phase, and some in the last phase, and similarly some long-haired, some half-shaved, some shaved, some gray-haired, some with lightly dyed robes, some with heavily dyed robes, or expounding phrases, explaining Dhamma, intoning, asking questions, answering questions, cooking, dye, sewing, and washing robes, etc., or if he wants to make still others of different kinds, he should emerge from the basic jhana, do the preliminary work in the way beginning let there be so many bhikkhus in the first phase of life, etc., then he should once more attain and emerge, and then resolve. They become of the kinds desired simultaneously with the resolving consciousness. Point 12. 68 The same method of explanation applies to the clause having been many, he becomes one, but there is this difference. After this bhikkhu thus created a manifold state, then he again thinks, as one only I will walk about, do a recital, 390 ask a question, or out of fewness of wishes he thinks, this is a monastery with few bhikkhus. If someone comes, he will wonder, where have all these bhikkhus who are all alike come from? Surely it will be one of the elders' feats, and so he might get to know about me. Meanwhile, wishing, let me be one only, he should attain the basic jhana and emerge. Then, after doing the preliminary work thus, let me be one, he should again attain and emerge and then resolve thus, let me be one. He becomes one simultaneously with the resolving consciousness. But instead of doing this, he can automatically become one again with the lapse of the predetermined time. 69 He appears and vanishes, the meaning here is that he causes appearance, causes vanishing. For it is said in the Pizamhid with reference to this, he appears, he is not veiled by something, he is not hidden, he is revealed, he is evident. Vanishes, he is veiled by something, he is hidden, he is shut away, he is enclosed. Payas 207.13. Now, this possessor of supernormal power who wants to make an appearance, makes darkness into light, or he makes revealed what is hidden, or he makes what has not come into the visual field come into the visual field. 70 How? If he wants to make himself or another visible even though hidden or at a distance, he emerges from the basic jhana and adverts thus, let this that is dark become light, or let this that is hidden be revealed, or let this that has not come into the visual field come into the visual field. Then he does the preliminary work and resolves in the way already described. It becomes as resolved simultaneously with the resolve. Others then see even when at a distance, and he himself sees too, if he wants to see. 71 But by whom was this miracle formerly performed? By the Blessed One. For when the Blessed One had been invited by Cua Subhada and was traversing the 7-league journey between Savatthi and Saketa with 500 palanquins 14 created by Visakama, CDHPA 3470, he resolved in such wise that citizens of Saketa saw the inhabitants of Savatthi and citizens of Savatthi saw the inhabitants of Saketa. And when he had alighted in the center of the city, he split the earth in two and showed Avasai, and he parted the sky in two and showed the Brahma world. 72 And this meaning should also be explained by means of the descent of the gods, Divaroho. When the Blessed One, it seems, had performed the twin miracle 15 and had liberated 84,000 beings from bonds, he wondered, where did the past enlightened ones go to when they had finished the twin miracle? He saw that they had gone to the heaven of the 33. 391 Then he stood with one foot on the surface of the earth, and placed the second on Mount Yugandhara. Then again he lifted his first foot and set it on the summit of Mount Sinaru. He took up the residence for the reins there on the red marble terrace, and he began his exposition of the Abhidhamma, starting from the beginning, to the deities of 10,000 world spheres. At the time for wandering for alms he created an artificial Buddha to teach the Dhamma. 73 Meanwhile the Blessed One himself would chew a toothed stick of Nagalata wood and wash his mouth in Lake Ainatata. Then, after collecting alms food among the Uttarakurus, he would eat it on the shores of that lake. Each day the elder Sariputta went there and paid homage to the Blessed One, who told him, "Today I taught this much Dhamma," and he gave him the method. In this way he gave an uninterrupted exposition of the Abhidhamma for 3 months. 80 million deities penetrated the Dhamma on hearing it. 74 At the time of the twin miracle an assembly gathered that was 12 leagues across. Then, saying, "We will disperse when we have seen the Blessed One," they made an encampment and waited there. Anthapiyaka the lesser 16 supplied all their needs. People asked the elder Anuruddha to find out where the Blessed One was. The elder extended light, and with the divine eye he saw where the Blessed One had taken up residence for the reigns. As soon as he saw this, he announced it. 75 They asked the Venerable Moggallana to pay homage to the Blessed One. In the midst of the assembly the elder dived into the earth. Then cleaving Mount Sinaru, he emerged at the Perfect One's feet, and he paid homage at the Blessed One's feet. This is what he told the Blessed One: "Venerable Sir, the inhabitants of Jambudapa pay homage at the Blessed One's feet, and they say, 'We will disperse when we have seen the Blessed One.'" The Blessed One said, "But, Moggallana, where is your elder brother, the general of the Dhamma?" "At the city of Sayokasa, Venerable Sir." Moggallana, "Those who wish to see me should come tomorrow to the city of Sayokasa. Tomorrow being the Apposatha day of the full moon, I shall descend to the city of Sayokasa for the Mahapavaro ceremony." 76 Saying, "Good, Venerable Sir," the elder paid homage to him of the 10 powers, and descending by the way he came, he reached the human neighborhood. And at the time of his going and coming he resolved that people should see it. This, firstly, is the miracle of becoming apparent that the elder Moggallana performed here. Having arrived thus, he related what had happened, and he said, "Come forth after the morning meal and pay no heed to distance," thus promising that they would be able to see in spite of the distance. 77 The Blessed One informed Sakka, ruler of gods, "Tomorrow, O king, I am going to the human world." The ruler of gods 392 commanded Visakama, "Good friend, the Blessed One wishes to go to the human world tomorrow. Build 3 flights of stairs, one of gold, one of silver and one of crystal." He did so. 78 On the following day the Blessed One stood on the summit of Sinaru and surveyed the eastward world element. Many thousands of world spheres were visible to him as clearly as a single plane. And as the eastward world element, so too he saw the westward, the northward, and the southward world elements all clearly visible. And he saw right down to Avasai, and up to the realm of the highest gods. That day, it seems, was called the day of the revelation of worlds, Lokavivaro. Human beings saw deities, and deities saw human beings. And in doing so the human beings did not have to look up or the deities down. They all saw each other face to face. 79 The Blessed One descended by the middle flight of stairs made of crystal, the deities of the 6th sense sphere heavens by that on the left side made of gold, and the deities of the pure abodes, and the great Brahma, by that on the right side made of silver. The ruler of gods held the bowl and robe. The great Brahma held a 3-league wide white parasol. Suyama held a yak-tail fan. 5 Crest, Pankasika, the son of the Gandhava, descended doing honor to the Blessed One with his balewood lute measuring 3/4 of a league. On that day there was no living being present who saw the Blessed One but yearned for enlightenment. This is the miracle of becoming apparent that the Blessed One performed here. 80 Furthermore, in Tambapayui Island, Sri Lanka, while the elder Dhammadinna, resident of Tayagara, was sitting on the shrine terrace in the great monastery of Tissa Mahavihara, expounding the Apayoga Sutta, Bhikkhus. When a bhikkhu possesses three things he enters upon the untarnished way, AI 113, he turned his fan face downwards and an opening right down to Avasai appeared. Then he turned it face upwards and an opening right up to the Brahma world appeared. Having thus aroused fear of hell and longing for the bliss of heaven, the elder taught the Dhamma. Some became stream enterers, some once returners, some non-returners, some arahants. 81 But one who wants to cause a vanishing makes light into darkness, or he hides what is unbidden, or he makes what has come into the visual field come no more into the visual field. How? If he wants to make himself or another invisible even though unconcealed or nearby, he emerges from the basic jhana and adverts thus, let this light become darkness, or 393 let this that is unhidden be hidden, or let this that has come into the visual field not come into the visual field. Then he does the preliminary work and resolves in the way already described. It becomes as he has resolved simultaneously with the resolution. Others do not see even when they are nearby. He too does not see, if he does not want to see. 82 But by whom was this miracle formerly performed? By the Blessed One. For the Blessed One so acted that when the clansman Yasa was sitting beside him, his father did not see him, Ven 16. Likewise, after traveling 2,000 leagues to meet King Mahakapinya and establishing him in the fruition of non-return and his 1,000 ministers in the fruition of stream entry, he so acted that Queen Anaha, who had followed the king with 1,000 women attendants and was sitting nearby, did not see the king and his retinue. And when he was asked, "Have you seen the king, venerable sir?" he asked, "But which is better for you, to seek the king or to seek yourself?" Cf. Ven I 23. She replied, "Myself, venerable sir." Then he likewise taught her the Dhamma as she sat there, so that, together with the 1,000 women attendants, she became established in the fruition of stream entry, while the ministers reached the fruition of non-return, and the king that of arahantship, CAAI 322, DHPA 2 124. 83 Furthermore, this was performed by the elder Mahinda, who so acted on the day of his arrival in Tombapaoi island that the king did not see the others who had come with him, see Mahavazai 103. 84 Furthermore, all miracles of making evident are called an appearance, and all miracles of making unevident are called a vanishing. Herein, in the miracle of making evident, both the supernormal power and the possessor of the supernormal power are displayed. That can be illustrated with the twin miracle, for in that both are displayed thus, here the perfect one performs the twin miracle, which is not shared by disciples. He produces a mass of fire from the upper part of his body and a shower of water from the lower part of his body, PSI 125. In the case of the miracle of making unevident, only the supernormal power is displayed, not the possessor of the supernormal power. That can be illustrated by means of the Mahaka Sutta, S4 200, and the Brahmanimantanaka Sutta, MI 330. For there it was only the supernormal power of the Venerable Mahaka and of the Blessed One respectively that was displayed, not the possessors of the supernormal power, according as it is said. Then, householder, spread your upper robe out on the terrace 394 and scatter 17 a bundle of hay on it. Yes, venerable sir, the householder replied to the Venerable Mahaka, and he spread out his upper robe on the terrace and scattered a bundle of hay on it. Then the Venerable Mahaka went into his dwelling and fastened the latch, after which he performed a feat of supernormal power such that flames came out from the keyhole and from the gaps in the fastenings and burned the hay without burning the upper robe, S4 290. 86 Also according as it is said, then, Bhikkhus, I performed a feat of supernormal power such that Brahma and Brahma's retinue, and those attached to Brahma's retinue might hear my voice and yet not see me, and having vanished in this way, I spoke this stanza. I saw the fear in all kinds of becoming, including becoming that seeks non-becoming. And no becoming do I recommend. I cling to no delight therein at all, MI 330. 87 He goes unhindered through walls, through enclosures, through mountains, as though in open space. Here through walls is beyond walls, the yonder side of a wall, is what is meant. So with the rest. And wall is a term for the wall of a house, enclosure is a wall surrounding a house, monastery, park, village, etc. Mountain is a mountain of soil or a mountain of stone. Unhindered, not sticking. As though in open space, just as if he were in open space. 88 One who wants to go in this way should attain the space Kagyo-yahana and emerge, and then do the preliminary work by adverting to the wall or the enclosure or some such mountain as Sinaru or the world sphere mountains, and he should resolve, let there be space. It becomes space only, it becomes hollow for him if he wants to go down or up, it becomes cleft for him if he wants to penetrate it. He goes through it unhindered. 89 But here the elder Tapika Cua said, friends, what is the use of attaining the space Kagyo-yahana? Does one who wants to create elephants, horses, etc., attain an elephant Kagyo-yahana or horse Kagyo-yahana, and so on? Surely the only standard is mastery in the 8 attainments, and after the preliminary work has been done on any Kagyo, it then becomes whatever he wishes. The Bhikkhu said, Venerable Sir, only the space Kagyo has been given in the text, so it should certainly be mentioned. 90 Here is the text, he is normally an obtainer of the space Kagyo attainment. He adverts, through the wall, through the enclosure, through the mountain. 395 Having adverted, he resolves with knowledge, let there be space. There is space. He goes unhindered through the wall, through the enclosure, through the mountain. Just as men normally not possessed of supernormal power go unhindered where there is no obstruction or enclosure, so too this possessor of supernormal power, by his attaining mental mastery, goes unhindered through the wall, through the enclosure, through the mountain, as though in open space. Payas 208. 91 What if a mountain or a tree is raised in this bhikkhu's way while he is traveling along after resolving, should he attain and resolve again? There is no harm in that. For attaining and resolving again is like taking the dependence, see Ven 58, 274, in the preceptor's presence. And because this bhikkhu has resolved, let there be space, there will be only space there, and because of the power of his first resolve it is impossible that another mountain or tree can have sprung up meanwhile made by temperature. However, if it has been created by another possessor of supernormal power and created first, it prevails, the former must go above or below it. 92 He dives in and out of the ground, Padhaviyapai Umyajaya Nimyajaya Here it is rising up that is called diving out, Umyajaya, and it is sinking down that is called diving in, Nimyajaya. Umyajaya Nimyajaya equals Umyajayan Ca Nimyajayan Ca, resolution of compound. One who wants to do this should attain the water Kagyo-yahana and emerge. Then he should do the preliminary work, determining thus, let the earth in such an area be water, and he should resolve in the way already described. Simultaneously with the resolve, that much extent of earth according as determined becomes water only. It is there he does the diving in and out. 93 Here is the text, he is normally an obtainer of the water Kagyo attainment. He adverts to earth. Having adverted, he resolves with knowledge, let there be water. There is water. He does the diving in and out of the earth. Just as men normally not possessed of supernormal power do diving in and out of water, so this possessor of supernormal power, by his attaining mental mastery, does the diving in and out of the earth as though in water. Payas 208.